Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, what I'd like to talk about is how to marry great boys or great men you'd like to marry, or you'd like, which is what I'd like to, which is the stuff I'd like to talk about. So this is about how should I say, this is about how to engage the feelings of great boys or great men actually. So which means that targeted listeners are women or girls. So what matters for marriage. So from in my perspective, what matters in marriage is that your characteristic is the most important stuff for continuing marriage. So I don't know how to explain, but what matters is not, for example, physical appearance or how well you can have sex with, but what matters is your own characteristic. So what I'd like you to know, what and characteristic is of course important, but so what matters is that both of you should understand the reality. So understanding reality means that I will speak out again maybe. But first of all, in this episode, what the reality I'd like you to understand is that so income, the amount of income has to exceed the amount of expense or the amount of consumption, or cost, which is the reality I'd like you to understand this time. So if you can't understand the reality, so you should choose the partner who can understand such reality, and who can make judgments, or who can make decisions based on such reality, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So from the beginning, of course, to engage great boys and handsome men, so physical appearances might be required. Of course, when it comes to marriage, choosing only based on physical appearance it's not so good. So what matters is the characteristic or humanity, both of you, which means you have to have great characteristic or kind humanity, and your partner has to have such great characteristic or kind humanity. So generally speaking, they have to support each other after marriage. So which means you and your husband has to help each other, or if you are lesbian, so you and your wife has to help each other for surviving. Anyway, so first of all, before getting married to the intended people you'd like to marry, so of course your physical appearance is necessary, a kind of necessary. So of course, it's up to the preference of each boy or each man. But generally speaking, the beautiful girls have some certain common features. So for example, if you have huge breasts and thin waist and huge hips with thick lips, if you're a woman who has such, if you're a woman who has such gorgeous appearance or such appearance, you are fine. I think you can marry whenever you want. So of course, if you do not have such features, like if you are, for example, if your tights are not so huge, and if you are fat, so, and if you might be, for example, you might be short, or you might be too tall for even for men. So in which case, I think what matters next is your own characteristic, or how much you can take boys or men into consideration, or how much you can become considerate to other people, or to particularly to boys or to men you'd like to marry, which comes to be important. And after, so if you are blessed, if you are blessed with your own physical appearance, you are fine. So you have to be concerned about your own cosmetics. So you have to put on good makeups, and you have to wear some sort of good clothes. And if you're not that beautiful, it's fine. You can hide your own true physical appearance. I don't know whether this expression is correct or not, but you can sort of hide your own physical appearance with, for example, makeups and clothing. And so when it comes to physical appearances, this is fine. So what matters is characteristics. So which means how much you can help boys and men. It does matter. So if you are thinking of marriage or after marriage, what matters is that whether you can understand the reality. So after marriage, what matters is one of the important things is money. Not the sexual. I don't know whether how to call sexual combination, or how well you can give, how well you can have sex with a partner comes next to money, actually. So of course, such a sexual technique it might be necessary. But it's up to who to marry. So if some boys or if some men wants to marry women or girls who have high sexual techniques, so you have maybe in such a case you should train yourself for getting high sexual techniques. But in most cases, women or girls do not need, or ladies do not need such high sexual techniques. So in the for example, this is a special example, but I think this is a unique example. But maybe some people think this might be only the case of my country, but some people think that women with too high sexual technique can be wrong, or can be bad, because so such women might be promiscuous, or such women might have some experience of as sex workers. Such women with high sexual techniques might be considered to have some experiences in sex working. So as such women might be regarded as having experiences as sex workers. So some people think, some men or some boys may think like that. So what matters after marriage is money. So if you can't understand that income has to exceed expense, or if you can't understand that so if you can't understand, for example, if the boy you are going to marry earns, for example, $1 million a year, but that guy or that person consumes, for example, $2 million a year, that person or that boy is bad for marriage, or that you should not marry such boy, because as you have calculated, there is a loss there is a loss of $100 million. So what does loss mean? What loss means is $1 million of income minus $2 million of costs equal minus $1 million, which is a total loss but which is a not total loss, which is a net loss of the boy. And if you marry such a boy, you know, that boy is really great because that boy could earn $1 million, but he consumes $2 million. So he has, when it comes to considering such consumption, such amount of that amount of consumption, he has to borrow, he would have borrowed some money from somewhere else, which is why, to consume $2 million, he has to borrow at least $1 million from other people, from other places, which is why I don't recommend you're marrying. I don't recommend that you marry that kind of boy. So reality is such kind of things, like the expense or the cost has to be reduced or has to be lowered, or the expense or the cost have to be lower than the amount of income, which is the reality you or your own partner has to understand. So, like which, as I told you, so what matters is to understand reality. So if you can't understand reality, you should ask your own partner to make some judgments or to make decisions when it comes to important matters for your family, which is what I like you to understand. So if you can understand such reality, but if your partner can't understand such reality, so you should make decisions, or you should decide things, or you should judge things. And if there are some important tasks, or if you get some important things, you have to make decisions, or you have to ponder, but your partner can't understand such reality, or the reality you have, such economic reality. So you have to think and decide things and make judgments instead of your own partner, which is what you have to do. And so going back to the original topic, so how to marry great boys or great men. So those who can understand such reality are great partners for you. If particularly if you can't understand the reality I have just told you, but of course asset management or monetary management or asset management is a lot more complicated than what I have just explained. But generally speaking, reality is stuff like that. Income has to exceed the expense or the cost, which is a reality you have to understand. So if you can understand, or if you can't understand, the people who can, or men or boys who can understand such reality are good partners for you. And if you can't understand such reality, you should choose those who can understand such reality. Of course, boys or men who are too violent, or boys or men who frequently hit or punch you or kick you are really bad for you. But apart from such violent people, apart from such violent or savage people, so men or boys who can understand such reality are good partners for you, which is what I'd like you to understand. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.